Welcome to Backpage Blues Part 2. I'm still joined by Charlie the Hurricane Skillen from the Mail Online, and it's time for my favourite part of the week. It's where we answer as many of your questions as possible. Just before we do that, I'd just like to say that to win this glorious T-shirt behind, nobody came close to winning it because we didn't get enough likes. We were after 2012, which was the year that we won the Champions League, and we didn't get anywhere near it. So what we're going to do this week is drop it down. If this video gets 1905, which is 1,905 likes, which is the year we were established, someone will win this. Equally, if you want to buy one, just go on the website. It's called A Time Before Sky. Time Before Sky TV, which was a beautiful time, I believe. And you can get hold of one. Let's get through as many questions as possible. Right, first question. Zach Hanif. Zach, thank you very much for your question and wonderful avatar.
Rough her out.
Absolutely. Is it too early in the new season to feel slightly concerned about Chelsea's performances? What are the reasons behind these performances?
There's a whole number of reasons behind these performances. A lot of them have to do with kind of Mourinho's mood at the minute, and a lot of them just, I think, have to do with our preparations. And I don't agree with the pre-season that Chelsea had. I think we started quite late. I don't think we played enough games. I don't think the fitness of the squad looks particularly good. And to be honest, although I don't think it's, I've seen a lot of kind of black and white views where people are saying that, we're going to finish mid-table and we're not going to finish anywhere. That's clearly not the case. But, I think every performance is worthy of discussion. And we've had two performances in the league. Neither of them have been very good. The one on Sunday was catastrophic. So, yeah, I think people have got every right to be concerned.
Yeah. And are you?
Yeah, I am concerned about. I'm not concerned about specific performances. I'm concerned about the general squad and the general well-being of Mourinho and his relationship with the squad and his relationship with the club. I don't, no matter what anyone says, and if people think certain people are overreacting, or people think everything's rosy, everything's not rosy at that club at the minute. It's, I'm more concerned about the general feel of the club, and I don't think it's set at the minute. I don't think it's set up to have a particularly successful season.
It's more after West Brom. I think we've got a massive game now against West Brom. If we don't get a victory against West Brom, then there's a real problem. Going forward into the league, there's a problem.
Definitely. I mean,
if we go into West Brom and win, and perhaps win 5 on the bounce, then it's just a bit of a dodgy start, and you get on with it.
Yeah, exactly. I said this before. Chelsea shouldn't be going 3 games in the league without a win at any point during the year, let alone the first 3 games. Some of our rivals look particularly good, and I'm just really hoping we can turn it around. But I do think people are right to be concerned at the minute.
Cool. Yeah, I'd agree.
Next question from Jack Gregory. Cheers for your question, Jack. Who's your most hated player in Premier League history? And the most loved, but not Chelsea players?
Okay, this is a very, very good question. Jack Gregory, excellent. I think hate is a very strong word, so I'm not necessarily going to go along with the hate, but a player who I dislike more because I loved him so much and therefore he broke my heart. A player who broke my heart and therefore I can never like someone who's broken my heart was Gus Poyet. I remember going to White Hart Lane years, I was really young, and they battered us 5-1. And I can remember it so vividly. They subbed Poyet. Poyet was our hero, and he went to Tottenham, which isn't on really. And they subbed him off. And as he went off, he really gave it to the Chelsea fan. He kissed the cock on his chest, and it broke a lot of people's hearts. And a lot of Chelsea fans will never forgive him for that.
I definitely won't forgive him.
We'll never forgive him.
Yeah, that was the first. That was the first time they'd beaten us in so long as well.
I know.
It was a terrible night.
Awful, yeah. Terrible February evening. It was horrible, cold. Getting back to Seven Sisters was awful. A feeling that we've done. Yeah, it was like conceding 5 there. It feels very fresh, actually.
Yeah, absolutely.
The most loved player from another team. It's hard to say it. It's not love either. It's more admiration. But I don't think it's very easy to look beyond the brilliance of Dennis Bergkamp. I think Dennis Bergkamp is probably the most magical football player I've ever seen, and was capable of doing things that other football players wouldn't be able to dream of doing, and Bergkamp had the ability to execute them. One goal in particular is one away at Newcastle United when he sent Nikos Dabatas into the stand with a turn.
Complete fluke.
Do you think?
No, I'm joking.
You don't think it's a fluke?
No, I'm joking.
It was one of the most brilliant
things
I've ever seen.
Wonderful player.
Yeah. What about you? It's a good question.
Yeah, it's a good question. I was never a huge fan of Teddy Sheringham just for the clubs he played for. I thought he was a little bit obnoxious, especially when he played for Tottenham.
Such a good player, though.
Yeah, amazing.
Such a good football player.
Great player, obviously. I think, there'd be no point sitting here talking about rubbish players because you remember the great players. Most loved. That's a lot harder. Not Chelsea players. I'm not saying I'm going to have loved him particularly at the time, considering he tore us to absolute shreds time and time again.
I think I know who this is going to be just because he tore us. Go on.
Dennis Bergkamp's partner up front, Thierry Henry. Yeah, I think he is probably the best player that's ever played in the Premier League.
After Dennis Bergkamp.
After Dennis Wise. I don't. Maybe not the best player ever to play, but I've never seen a player dominate the league like that. He was just for a few seasons he was unplayable. Unfortunately, especially against Chelsea.
Against us, he had such good performances.
Tore us to shreds time and time again. So I think again that'd be the player I admire the most.
I think that's really good answer, actually, mate.
Cheers.
It was enjoyable. Thank you for that excellent question. I'm actually interested to hear the answer to that. There's a question here from Yonald Weasley.
Is that his real name?
No, it isn't. I've just worked it out. I didn't actually get that.
So Larry Potter's asked the next one.
Yonald said, although he just signed a 4-year contract, any concern that the recent media backlash issues with Abramovich will see Mourinho leave Chelsea early?
Well, the thing about the contract, obviously,
very poignant question.
Yeah, the thing about the new contract, although it's only got announced just before the start of the season, they did this for a reason. We actually talked about Mourinho's contract in the Backpage Blues ages ago, March and February. Yeah. So that contract was actually agreed a long time ago. Now, look, I don't want to scare anyone. I don't think we're at a situation where Mourinho leaves the club.
No.
At the minute, I don't think we're even approaching that. Don't get me wrong, but things aren't quite right at the minute, and it's hardly in Mourinho's CV to stay at a club for ages. It's hardly in his CV to kind of ride through a storm or not do the unexpected. Yeah. So, I mean, basically, nothing surprises you with Jose Mourinho. And equally, nothing surprises you with Chelsea. So
the concern, to answer Yonald's question, the concern is there. There is.
The concern is there, but I'm not sure it's going to happen before the next Backpage Blues.
Cool. I'll ask you this one.
Okay.
It's from Zombies Ate My Duck. I hope you're all right and dealing with that trauma. Okay. The question is, if you could go back in time and attend a Chelsea game that you haven't already attended, which game would you pick and why?
Oh, great question.
I've got my answer here straight away.
Is it?
You're going to try and guess my answer?
Yeah, I'm going to try and guess yours.
Go on.
I'm going to say Old Trafford FA Cup replay 1970.
Leeds United. Definitely.
I think I'd go with that as well, just because, it wasn't a first major
I know
trophy.
what you should go for.
Go on.
Real Madrid. You're obsessed with Real Madrid.
Yeah. The following year in Athens.
Yeah.
And, Athens up there.
Yeah.
And load of from what I've heard anyway from my dad and people like that, load of Chelsea went out there for the first game, and obviously it was a draw, and there was a replay like 3 days later.
It just hung about.
It had to hang about.
Oh, hard life, isn't it? Knocking about Greece.
Everyone bunked off work and went to the replay, which obviously we won against.
Yeah, we beat Real Madrid. We won a European Cup before Liverpool had ever won a European Cup.
Exactly.
So,
exactly.
And for me, definitely the FA Cup final when the King of Stamford Bridge knocks in a brilliant diving header.
Yeah,
to have been at that, to see the crowd surge, if you haven't seen it, to see the Chelsea fans surge forward at Old Trafford when that goal hit the back of the net would have been, to be part of that, would be like being part of history. I loved it.
It says something that we've both chosen iconic games from that particular era, because I think, obviously...
It's the same team, isn't it?
Yeah, it is the same team. Yeah. But obviously it was before either of us were born, but I think growing up as a Chelsea fan, especially before kind of our recent success, that was drilled into us from such a young age, certainly from my dad and family anyway. That glorious team, Osgood, Cook, Hudson, Harris.
Another end to have been in, another end. Just thinking about an end that collapsed. If you've ever seen Kerry Dixon score a volley.
84.
Kerry Dixon, look it up now. Kerry Dixon scores a volley at Highbury, and the Chelsea fans are behind the goal in which he scores a brilliant volley, like really spins and pings it. Look at the fans behind the goal. To have been part of that would have just been incredible. It's chaos, carnage. It looked beautiful.
My old man was there. He said it was one of his favourite ever games.
Incredible.
Next question. Actually, this is from Daniel Housden, and this is from a Daily Mail column, so obviously I'm well placed to ask. Do you agree with Jamie Carragher's comments that none of our rivals' signings will make it into Chelsea's team?
It's a really good question. Again, really insightful questions today.
I know, I don't know what's up with them.
I don't agree with Carragher. I like that Carragher has said that, and I think it should put us in quite a strong position if he were correct. But sadly, Jamie, if you're watching, I'm going to have to disagree with you. I think that Morgan Schneiderlin, who Manchester United signed, would get into our team, and imagine him playing in the pivot with Nemanja Matic.
I don't think anyone would get to the defence.
That would be fantastic. And also, I actually think Raheem Sterling would get into our team. I think Raheem Sterling could definitely, depending on what would happen, you push Willian inside and play Raheem Sterling out wide, or even I suppose play Sterling more central. I think that Sterling is a good enough player to get into our team.
He'd certainly offer kind of a counter threat to Hazard, wouldn't he?
So down the right other side. So yeah, I don't agree with Jamie to answer your question.
So I think you're probably right.
Yeah.
I think you're probably right.
Oliver Carpenter has said, if every current Chelsea player went into a giant brawl and only one could win, who would you choose? Love the concept. Thank you very much. Cheers, Oliver. We really appreciate that support. To answer your insightful question, who would I like?
This is my favourite.
What do you think this is? Who would we like to win, or who do we think would win?
No, who would win? For me, there's only one answer.
I think John Terry would win. I think John Terry is the hardest man at the club.
I think that
he's also fearless. He's also completely fearless. Mental. He'll kill you.
I think that's probably true. That he is our hardest player. I also think Ivanovic would be in the running for that. But I think I just can't see Diego Costa losing a fight against anyone.
John Terry. Ramirez is a maniac. Ramirez will just slide tackle everyone, like both flying in.
In fact, I wouldn't fancy a chance against Nemanja Matic either. We've got quite a big side.
Do you know what, John Terry? There was when we played, we beat somebody in Europe, and I remember a commentator in Italy wrote a really insightful article. Basically said that if somebody crossed in a washing machine, John Terry would header it away.
I like that.
It's a really good quote.
I think that's fair enough.
And I think that if you're prepared to header a washing machine, being crossed in, you don't want to fight that guy.
If you ever get John Terry on the channel, that's what you've got to try and make him do.
Header a washing machine. Done. So I'm going John Terry, no doubt.
Fair enough.
Goes John Terry to win, but it's a fight in the final. It's John Terry and Ramirez. Like John Terry, trying to just go mental, and Ramirez slide tackling like a lunatic.
yeah. Unfortunately, Ramirez does that on the pitch as well, which we kind of knock him down. But there you go.
Wonderful, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Really good questions this week. I'm looking forward to getting on stuck into these next week. As always, comment below. Let us know what you think. Get your questions in. Give us a like, because if we do, somebody will get that next week. And remember, if you want one, check out the beginning of this video where I give you all the information. Remember, we're champions, they're not. People are really worried about this. I don't want to call it a divide, but there's something, isn't there, between Mourinho and John Terry?